Good morning. So today our topic is water. Happens to be one of my favorite topics. And so I invite you to come with me on a journey connecting with the water. And so take a breath with me, and my hands go to my heart. If your hands go to your heart, that's fabulous. And take the breath all the way in. Noticing the breath moving into the backs and the bottoms and the sides of your lungs. Notice the breath moving into your hips and your shoulders. And notice the breath moving into your arms and your legs, your hands and your feet. And notice the breath moving into the top of your head and the bottom of your feet. And from here, I simply want you to notice what the earth right below you feels like. Is it warm or cool? Dry or moist? Does it feel welcoming? Simply notice. And notice. I invite you further into the earth. Maybe you imagine yourself sinking into the earth until you find the aquifers underneath you. Or maybe you allow roots or rivers of awareness to take you to the aquifers of the earth. And I invite you, when you find that aquifer, to simply relax back into it, letting it be exactly what you need right now to feel nurtured and supported. So maybe the aquifer beneath you, or that you're currently inhabiting, is the perfect size for you right now. It's cozy and compact and the exact right temperature, the exact right amount of support for you right now. Maybe it's cavernous and amazing and goes on forever and ever and ever. And notice the flow of the water. Maybe you notice that water feels like it's moving through you or with you. Maybe you notice it's washing things away that no longer serve. Maybe you notice it's filling you up completely. And let's take a breath and tune into the waters above the planet. The lakes and the rivers and the oceans. Let your heartbeat become one with the ocean lapping against the shore. My ancestors come from an island, and that island felt the heartbeat of the water. It guided all of their ways. Again, the oceans and the rivers and the lakes. And notice how your heartbeat, how the rhythm of your body starts to sync with the rivers and the oceans and the lakes. And with this next breath, I invite you to notice the water of the sky. We've had some amazing clouds this month. We've even had some rain. And recall that time and space. And feel your rhythm, your heartbeat mesh with the sound of the rain, mesh with the movement of the clouds in the sky. And with this next breath, I invite you to find the water inside you. Maybe you notice it's evenly spread throughout your being. Maybe you notice the water inside you is pooling in certain areas. Maybe you notice that the water inside you, like the waves of the ocean, are moving in a steady rhythm. And maybe what you notice is that the water of the planet, above, below, and on the surface, is the same water inside you. Remembering that truly it's all one. And truly it's all connected. And so as this meditation time comes to a close, I invite you, maybe even once a day, to tune in to the water of the planet, the water of the ocean and the lakes and the rivers, the water of the clouds and the rain, and the water within you. And simply honor that substance which informs so much of our worlds, internally and externally. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and enjoy your own journey with water. And many blessings for the water inside and out. And so it is.
Las Vegas. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. Before we begin this celebration service, let's all join in and sing our opening song together.
What a glorious Sunday morning. I'm Kelly Capsar, a licensed practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas, and it is my pleasure to be here with you as we experience this uplifting celebration service together. Throughout this service, if you feel a need for prayer, a prayer and a blessing for you, a family member, or a friend, then please go to our website and select our prayer request. Know that licensed spiritual practitioners are deeply committed to supporting you through prayer. We are here for you. Please feel free to call on us. As a matter of fact, even as I speak, 2 practitioners are providing spiritual support right now for you, for me, for our entire community. They are holding us in deep spiritual loving care from their homes by sitting in meditation during this service. We thank Sheila Callum and Valerie Weiner for holding high watch for each one of us today. And now, let us take a moment to consider this week's affirmation. You may wish to jot it down or take a picture of it and keep it with you as a source of inspiration throughout the week. I'll read the affirmation, and then we'll enter into contemplation together, after which I will give the invocation. I am grateful for the waters of life that sustain me. I am grateful for the waters of life that sustain me.
I breathe in, I breathe out, I take in, I give out, I let love let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, and I know.
And so continuing in the breath, in the life that breathes each and every one of us, I notice the breath and the waters, the heartbeat of life, the heart inside my body, the oceans and the rivers and the clouds, of the heartbeat of the planet. The waters have been here since the beginning. The waters continue to nurture and support us. We honor it, we celebrate it. We remember it as the truth of who and what we are. And we remember the divinity of that substance. And breathing into that, I simply let everything that is coming unfold in the perfection of that transformative quality. And we rest in that. And we know that water, that life, that divine have their way with us. And we simply let it be. And together we say, and so it is.
Breathe, breathe. I breathe in, I breathe out, I take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, and I know.
Just one life, that's all we're given here. Just one chance to make a difference where we live. I'm just one man, and I'm only human. But only human means I've got a lot to give. Love, Love can move this world to peace. It's a time that begins with you and me. Love can move the world like the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come move the world with me. Look around, there's someone hurting near you. Look around, there's something you can do. Look within you and find your spirit to change the world. There's got to be a change in you. Love can move the world like the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a time that begins with you and me. Love can move the world like the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come move the world with me. Love can move the world like the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a time that begins with you and me. Love can move the world like the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come move the world with me. Come move the world with me.
Good morning, CSL Greater Las Vegas. I'm Reverend Dan. It is super pleasure to be here. I don't know if Reverend Laura knew this when she invited me, but I actually have some direct ties to Las Vegas, so it's pretty fun. This is actually my first time connecting with CSL to Las Vegas, but I have family that lives there. My dad lived there. I grew up spending summers out in Las Vegas, and so even though we are connecting through the ethers, it certainly feels like being a little bit at home. So this is fun and exciting for me, and glad to be with you. Thank you for having me here. This month, we are following the global themes, and the theme is nature. And so this is week 2 of nature. This is all about water, which also has a very interesting home, I think, here in Las Vegas. Certainly different take on water than I think other parts of the country. Currently, I live in Las Vegas, and I also have family in Florida. And so spending time in Florida where it rains all the time, there's a very different relationship with water there than there is in Las Vegas. So anyway, we're going to get all into the water today and nature and why are we talking about nature and water, right? So first, I wanted to play this little video. This is a video I took of a thunderstorm just the other night, actually, and I thought it would be a perfect way to kind of break the ice and settle into this moment about water. So let's just take a minute. So just sit back, relax. I'd say close your eyes. We would normally say close your eyes, but this is actually kind of fun to watch. So if you feel like watching it, go ahead. But let's just kind of settle into this moment right here. Isn't there just something so inherently soothing about listening to the rain and that rumbling thunder in the distance? The interesting thing is when I took that video the other night, I didn't know yet that I would be here doing this. And I certainly didn't know the topic was going to be water. But when this topic came up, when I found out I would be speaking here and it was this topic, initially my mind, water, I just go to rain. I don't know why. My mind just goes to rain. And I thought of that video and it's like, oh, yeah, there's this human connection to rain and the peaceful feeling that it can easily bring up in us. And it got me thinking. I started wondering why. Why do we have that connection to rain and water and different, of course, all different types of water, right? And I thought, well, that would be a really interesting idea for us to explore here, especially with the nature of water and the desert and the state of things currently. It would be thought maybe that would be an interesting topic. So I will tell you, the very first time I was ever in Las Vegas, I was 10 years old, and it was just before my dad was moving out there. And, so we did all the sites and all the national parks. And of course we went to the Hoover Dam. And I remember looking over the lake side, the Lake Mead side of the dam, looking down at the water, and just a very vivid image of where the water line was and how much water, and just like, wow, this lake is huge. And then, fast forward, I don't know, 10 years later, and the water level is considerably lower than that, like so much lower, that the villages that the construction workers who made the dam, the ones that they lived in, were now beginning to appear above the surface of the water. And it's like, oh man, this is bad. This is bad, right? The water, this is bad. There's not nearly enough water coming down this river to feed this lake for their, yeah, well, fast forward again till like now, and it seems it's barely even a lake, and so it really gets to, you really get to recognize just how important the water really is to us. That, not only do we need water just to live, but, the water in this case is also our electricity. And beyond us, the water that gets let out into the river beyond and then into California, like they need water too. And yeah, there's this whole supply issue of water. But there is such a deep connection to water even beyond that. We definitely have this, like, well, we need drinking water, we need electricity. There's a resource here that we need. But I thought beyond that, well, what is it about water that we feel so connected to? Because I certainly had this feeling of like, well, that's probably bad. We're going to need to figure out how to get water here. because people need to drink. We need, all of the things that we do with water, right? But there was also this feeling, a nostalgia almost, going back, again and again, and watching and looking, and every time the water be lower and lower, and it's like there is this nostalgic feeling of sadness or something that comes along with that experience of watching the lake go down. Like did we screw something up here? Not in a sense of are we being punished or anything, but just in the sense of like, well, this is a man-made lake. Did that at some point screw things up in the flow of this? And but there was this deeper connection to a much more natural feeling around the lake, around Lake Mead, around the water in general. And I thought, there's got to be a deeper connection here to water. So I did some looking into it, and factually speaking, it is often said that our bodies are like 70% water or 60% water or whatever, and it actually varies. We are usually between 45 and 75% made of water. Like out of all of the stuff that makes up our whole body, up to 75% of it is water. And if you really think about that, it's such an interesting factoid that out of all of the stuff, out of all of the pieces, that water is such the majority of what we are made up of. And when you really look at it, the hydrogen that makes up part of that water, every single water molecule, that hydrogen was created in the Big Bang. So there was this golf ball size chunk of matter, so dense, it had the exact same weight that the entire universe has right now. There was this golf ball size chunk that contained all of the material that currently exists. 13.8 billion years ago, this thing exploded and started expanding in every direction, pieces colliding and going off and breaking apart and whatever. But the hydrogen that's in the water that we are made up of, the water that's anywhere, the hydrogen in that water was created in that Big Bang. So the 75% of you that is water, all of the hydrogen that is in that water was made 13.8 billion years ago. And the rest of the water, the oxygen that makes up the rest of the water molecule, was made over the last 500 billion years in the colliding of stars and explosions and stuff. It's mind-boggling to think this stuff is ancient. We are made of ancient material, and it's not true just for the water. It's true for all of us. Everything that makes up everything was created one way or another in the Big Bang or recycling of material since, but none of it is new. We are made up of ancient stardust colliding, stars colliding and exploding, creating this material, recreating material. None of it ever gets destroyed, right? Life is infinite, immortal. The stuff that is existing, the material, just goes on recreating and recreating. And so at the same time that our body is billions of years old, at the same time, it's the creating and recreating of the cells that are no much older than a week or 2 or 3. And in some cases, a year, maybe 5. But our cells constantly recreating. Our body is less than 5 years old, in most cases only a week or so. And so we are simultaneously made up of material that is 13.8 billion years old and also a week old at the same time. And it kind of gets mind-boggling when you think of it. But at the same time, again, we are made up of exactly the same stuff that everything else around us is made up of. everything that we have ever known, touched, felt, sensed, thought about, created, all of it is as old as the universe. When it really comes down to, it's just the recycling of the pieces of the material, the matter. But all of it is it's the same. It's the same. And within it, all of these pieces. Did you know if you were to enlarge a cell to the size of Yankee Stadium, that if the cell wall were the outer rim of the stadium, that the nucleus would be like a rice grain in the middle of the pitching mound. Like, that's how much empty space there is in between the nucleus and the electrons and such floating around it. Like, kind of crazy. So we're ancient material and we're made up of the stuff that's so old, and yet there's 99.99% space in this material. We're so much of the nothingness, and yet we don't really know what that is. I wonder what that is, right? What is that space? And so water, the water that's within us, or the water that's in Lake Mead, or the water that's in that rain video, ancient. And so that's part of the connection. That's part of our connection to water is because we are it. We are that, right? And so there is, at whatever level cells become conscious, there is that connection. Whether we're aware of that or not, I don't know. But the other piece to this is we came from water. As a species, our ancestors are that which lived in water for hundreds of millions of years. The single cell organism, life itself, started in water and evolved over the course of millions of years, and then finally made its way into land and started breathing when there was oxygen to be taken in. We all of a sudden made it to land and then evolved eventually into an upright species. But we came from water. Water is that which we have evolved from. And so we were that which was in water, right? Like, because the material, the matter that made up those life forms that were in the water, maybe hundreds of millions of years ago, is still here. That material is still here. It has been recreated again and again and again. It is what we are. We are that material. This life, this world that we live in, is that material. That life that made its way out of the water and onto the land. We are it. So not only are we made up of water, but we are made from the water. And so we're living in the water, and now the water is living in us. So we evolved and we took the water with us. And so, it seems only natural that, having brought the water along with us to be made up of this majority percentage of water, that when we see it, we have this deep connection to it. And beyond that, the cycles of water that exist, and the cycle of fluids within our body, we thrive on water. Our cells require it. And that's where the 75%, 60, 70, 75% of water within our body exists. It's mostly within our cells to create and flush out cellular waste and on and on and on. But the water is such a natural way of being for us, because it is who we are. There is such a direct correlation to us as beings existing because of water. That water actually is life. Water is the source of life. And that's something that many religions and theologies teach and believe, that water is the source. So when we get to the metaphysical perspective, that water is the source of our spiritual being. It is the medium, right? It's that which creates, that where life was created in and out of. And so we carry it with us because it is who we are. And so when you really get into nature and more than just water, but all of nature, but certainly water too, that there is this whole other perspective available to us that I think maybe we don't often talk a whole lot about within the science of mind teaching. And that is the, wait for this, oneness. I think we talk about oneness. I don't know that we talk about oneness a lot from the perspective of nature itself or from water itself, right? Oneness. We tend to talk about oneness as in whole, perfect, and complete. I am one. And so we are all one and everything's great. And it's really easy to hold this very bypassy kind of view of oneness where everything's fine. Well, for a lot of people, things don't look fine, you know, and so what happens is oneness becomes a way of like, these are the things that I like, these are the things that are fine, and this is the stuff that's not so much fine, and so we're gonna brush that off to the side, and this is oneness, this is great, I believe this, I like this is comfortable and enjoyable, and here we are, oneness. Well, you can't really have oneness and everything else. That is two-ness or duality, right? We have this, the stuff we like, and here's the stuff we don't like. Well, that whole, perfect, and complete thing, whole means whole, all of the pieces, all of the things. You know, the teaching symbol starts with a circle because it's everything. We don't get to leave out the stuff we don't like. So oneness, instead of the bypassy perspective of oneness, which becomes duality, oneness must include everything. And so the more our perspective of everything expands, the greater sense of oneness we actually get to embody. And so when we look at nature, I think we tend to have a up above perspective, as if we as humans have kind of put ourselves on a pedestal, like we're up here, this is us, and we get to look out and down upon nature, which is somehow less than. Nature is down here and we're up above. We're on this pedestal that we have, as if we have evolved beyond nature, above nature. And so certainly the room I am in right now is not natural. It's human made. And so I would have to step outside of this building, outside of this house, to be in nature. And so somehow we live separate from all that is natural. And yet the perspective of, when we really take on what might be called an ecological consciousness, and we really get to this point of recognizing the oneness of the molecules of the material of the matter, the oneness of the water, the oneness of the creation of life, the oneness of, that's a whole other perspective. When we take on, like, we are the universe. The universe is not out there. There is not a line, like it's not Earth and then the universe. Earth is part of the universe. We are of the Earth. In fact, we are, we are not on Earth. We are Earth, right? We are not looking at the universe. We are the universe looking at itself. This is not me. This is me. This is me looking at my hand. The hand is me. I am Earth. You are Earth. We are Earth. And the perspective when we come down off that pedestal, the perspective of a level field with the matter that is life, with the water that is life. It's a whole other perspective of oneness. And it removes this, I want to say, potentially privileged viewpoint of oneness, the one that wants to create only that which I like and eliminate or ignore that which I don't like. It wants to stay comfortable. And so water, the creative medium, that which we are, is that way of, in a way, humbling us. We are so reliant on. It's like if I forget to drink enough water, the dehydration, the headache reminds me very quickly how dependent I am on that water. And so I am not separate from, I am actually part of that whole cycle of water, part of that whole cycle of being. And so I don't know what the answer is, when we're looking out, we're standing on the Hoover Dam looking out at Lake Mead. I don't know what that answer is, but what I do know is it is a fantastic reminder of just how connected we are, just how much a part of the water, a part of the nature, a part of the whole cycle we are. And so it might mean that, like us, like we are exploring right now, it might mean it takes many, many, many of us coming down off of the man-made pedestal that is made up of natural materials, if there is one, right? What else would it be made of? I mean, the house, made of natural materials. I mean, where is the line between nature and not nature? It begins to blur a little bit. But when we come off of that human-made, natural resourced pedestal, down into recognizing we're not nearly as separated, and in fact, not separated at all from the nature that we are actually a part of. And so there are ways to view oneness differently from here. There's ways to make decisions and choices differently from down here. And we certainly get to allow it to be a reminder, on a regular basis, to remember the impact that water has had on us, and then in turn the impact that we have on water. And this is true both physically and metaphysically. Water as the source, water as the creative medium, water as that which sustains. Water is the perfect metaphor for the all that there is, for God and the teaching symbol that we believe in. Water is the whole thing. It is the whole thing. So let's take this into a moment of prayer and just kind of wrap this up in a nice little package to take home with us today. So if you feel like doing so, if you're feeling comfortable enough to close your eyes, feel free to do so. But let us take a breath. Another very, very natural thing, something that happens without even thinking about it. In fact, it might be true that nature breathes us. So we just take that breath. Recognizing that even in the breath that there is moisture, there is water even in the breath. Knowing that there is water in every cell of our being, in every organ, in all the tissues, even in the bone, there is water all throughout our being. And so we recognize, just like the water, that the allness that we live in is the everything. It has always been, and it was whatever created the Big Bang, and if we can name whatever that was, it was whatever was created that. It is that thing which is timeless and spaceless. It is beyond, for lack of a better word, beyond all that we could possibly know and fathom. It is the all that there is. It is the mind. It is the consciousness. We recognize there is this thing that we try to attach so many names to aptly describe, and yet it is always greater. And just like the water, being the source, being the medium, being the creation, being that which sustains, we too are that which it is. The water is source. We are a source. The water is the medium. We are that which the creation comes through. We are that which sustains by consistently co-creating in thought, having thought, creating something new, receiving and giving. And so the water is the same. We are so much the water. It is so deeply a part of us. And so we just recognize that there is a space here for a settling into a greater way of being that recognizes the humbling reliance that we have on the world around us, that we are not actually separate from, we are never creating in a vacuum. We do not have blinders on, that everything we think and create does in fact create in and around us. It creates and impacts everything around us. Everything that each one of us creates, everything that every point where there is conscious thought happening creates inside and beyond. It creates outward into this life that we are experiencing. And so we are consistently and constantly co-creating the world that we live in. And so just like the water created life, allowed for life to be created, life then continued expanding, creating new, co-creating along with the water, newer and newer life forms, until life then took that water and used it to create something new outside of the water. We are literally doing the same thing. We were so much a part of Source until that idea within Source needed around so much that it became this physical life and exploded into being and created and co-created and recreated for billions of years. We do that same thing. We take with us the Source. We take with us that ability to create, to co-create. We take with us that connection, because we are not actually separate from, we are of and within the whole. And so I just express gratitude in this moment, knowing that we are that much connected. We are that much one, so much more than we possibly even realize. We are so much more the same, so much more it. We are it. The perfect individualized being, the perfect individualized essence that is that thing in our very own unique ways, never separate from each other, never separate from life, never separate from nature, never separate from that which really has no word. And so for this, I'm grateful. And I simply allow this experience to go out into the universe, into universal law, and to create places known and unknown, a greater experience of life in every way possible. We simply release it and let it go. And so it is. Thank you.
Here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number, and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link to our online donation page posted below this video where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have things, we all have sorrows, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me where you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to just might have a problem that you don't understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. When you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Please, if there's a load you have to bear and you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load. If you just call me, you just call me. If you need a friend, call me. Call me. If you need a friend, call me. You just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
We thank our musical guests that inspire and uplift us each week with their talent. We also thank you for your generous gift in support of our center. We remain committed to serving you. Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas continues to provide enriching services, transformative classes, and powerful opportunities for connection within our community. Be sure to watch the announcements at the end of today's service for what's coming up in the weeks ahead. Now let's join together in a closing song before our benediction.
I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. All right, stand up, shake it out, let this move through you. It's been a while, let's do it. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only in for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only in for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only in for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only in for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Well, as we close this morning, I'd just like to take one more opportunity and say thank you. Thank you to those of you who are joining us live and those of you that are watching our service later on. We truly are blessed by your presence. And I'd like to remind everyone of our next in-person service. It is going to be on Sunday, August 21st at 9 a.m. in the parking lot of our new building. 4080 East Russell Road. Hope to see you all there. We were out there this week, and at 9 o'clock, we specifically got there at 9 o'clock to see what the temperature was like. It was beautiful. There was lots of shade. We will have some shade structures to set up, and we will have a few chairs, but if you can bring your own chair or maybe even an extra one to share with somebody else, that would be greatly appreciated. We are not able to bring our furniture over yet. And again, like we did with the building blessing, we will keep the service under an hour, so to accommodate the lack of restroom facilities on site. We are just getting so excited for the build out of our new facility on East Russell Road. And it's just a wonderful time to come together and celebrate that in our parking lot. So we hope to see you all there on Sunday, August 21st at 9 a.m. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Bye-bye.
The monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details. CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with Spiritual Soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.